Hello everyone and happy May 25th of 2026. Earlier today I shot a video about how Kenner got this toy wrong, and them getting it wrong forced me to do something wrong when I made Whoever Dies the Most Toys Wins. So here's the story. There were at least two full-size Landspeeder props built for Star Wars. One had no wheels underneath and could be supported by a single rod vertically for shots where it didn't have to move. Another support option for this wheelless Landspeeder was out the side, a giant cantilevered boom arm on a central pivot point that would allow 2 to 3 members of the crew on foot to rotate the Landspeeder into frame. This footage can be seen in the 1977 TV special The Making of Star Wars, originally narrated by William Conrad, which, confidentially, always made me think it sounded like a Rocky and Bullwinkle episode. But it is probably the second Landspeeder, the one with wheels, that is the most famous, because to create the illusion of the vehicle hovering, they used a simple trick of mirrors to reflect the sand and make it look like there was nothing underneath. Oh, sorry, George, that's 7 years bad luck. And rather than build a three-wheeled vehicle from scratch, they just built it over the chassis of an existing vehicle called a Reliant Bond Bug. And being a British vehicle, that meant it had right-hand steering, or starboard steering. So the Landspeeder itself is also steered on the starboard side only. And while it is a pet peeve of mine that people are constantly putting Obi-Wan in the driver's seat by mistake, truth is, Kenner got this wrong and I got it wrong too, from a certain point of view. You see, Kenner put Luke in the driver's seat and 3PO in the passenger seat. But the only time those two are the only characters in the Landspeeder, 3PO is driving. This is even evident when they get out. 3PO exits on the starboard side, Luke exits on the port. There was originally to have been more dialogue, and the deleted scene looks pretty hokey because it was all rear screen projection. But it starts off with Luke facing the rear trying to repair something, while 3PO is obviously the one steering the vehicle. Maybe they wanted to reshoot these close-ups later in the actual desert, and Mark Hamill's accident prevented that, I'm not sure, but for whatever reason, the entire sequence got cut. But in one of those nice cosmic twists of fate, they actually got a chance to play the scene over again anyway. In 1981, Star Wars was adapted for radio by author Brian Daley. Brian took a 2-hour film and expanded it into 13 half-hour episodes, 6.5 hours of dialogue. Very few of the movie cast reprised their roles for radio. Although they were replaced with some very talented actors in those parts, we did at least get Mark Hamill and Anthony Daniels reprising their roles as Luke and 3PO. And the 5th radio episode actually puts back in that Luke and 3PO driving scene dialogue, as well as additional dialogue that Brian Daley wrote to bridge scenes together. For my money, this one scene where it's just the voice of Luke and the voice of 3PO talking, it's the most immersive scene for the listeners in the entirety of the radio trilogy.
Master Luke, if I might suggest, I could take the controls, leaving you free to scan the terrain for tracks. Piloting ground effect vehicles like your Landspeeder is one of my secondary functions.
Good idea. Let's go.
There.
Whoa! Careful, 3PO. You have to use a light touch on her.
Yes, sir, I see. This vehicle's steering response is excellent.
And while I have cited the radio dramas and their audio-only storytelling as part of my inspiration for my visual-only storytelling in Whoever Dies the Most Toys Wins, for the simple sake of continuity, I had to get that shot wrong. I did a forced perspective establishing shot with regular 4-inch sand people in the foreground and the diecast Landspeeder actually pretty close to them but appearing to be much farther away. So then in the medium shot of them finding R2, naturally I put Luke and 3PO in the same positions to match the diecast toy, overlooking the fact that on VHS, at that distance and out of focus, you really couldn't tell who was where. But eventually I took steps to correct this should I ever make a remake of Whoever Dies the Most Toys Wins. Sometime after the video was completed, I acquired a second Kenner diecast Landspeeder. By sheer brute force, I prized out the seat and Luke and 3PO from it. You can see the little metal washers that were holding them in place. And then I put them back in the proper positions. 3PO on the starboard side, driving the Landspeeder. So if someday I revisit Whoever Dies the Most Toys Wins, I will not be forced, for the sake of intercutting, to put them on the wrong sides again. I hope you've enjoyed this video today, and thank you for watching.